Hey folks, I swear this isn't one of those mukbang or whatever they call them videos where somebody just sits around and eats food and it says, watch me eat food and, oh, give me monies and all that. But, I went out and got some cheeseburgers from this, place that's within walking distance of, uh, of my house. Really not been eating healthy lately. I tried to get back on the low carb diet and then I've fallen off, and a lot of it's just due to my state of mind. God, I hate how, generally speaking, when I come to this channel, I'm typically like in a really negative mood, and it just makes it seem like I'm just 100% depressive all the damn time, which I'm not. That's real onions in here. Um, but yeah, I haven't been like in the best state of mind, and typically for me to have like the wherewithal to sort of care. It always seems that things have to be going really well, or they have to be going really bad. And if they're going really bad, then it can assume that there's a point to changing course of that at that point in time. Obviously, it can cause me to get really, really motivated to like change things around. Like if I were to pack on a bunch of weight, or if I were to get really sick or so, and it was a case of, well, if you'd been sticking to this diet or getting exercise, getting plenty of sleep, sticking to no fap, that you wouldn't have these problems, sort of deal. Not saying as far as that last thing is concerned that a doctor would ever bring up no fap in a conversation about physical health or something like that, or so. But then that could be a catalyst for a lot of positive change, or if things are going really well, it might just motivate me to care. But so right now, where things are asking me, I'm back on the job search. I've applied to, I think, close to 40 positions already this week. I need to apply to more. I don't know if things are going to happen in time. I'm doing whatever I can to make things happen in time. But with that, then I had first midterm for my circuits class, which let me see. So there were 5 questions total. The actual exam. There was an extra credit question, but that was an all or nothing sort of a deal for like, excuse me, 3 more points. Total points was 50, and one of the questions was multiple choice. That was 10 points, and the other 4 were each 10 points. Those were like free response. I think I got all the multiple choice. I think I got 3 out of the, no, excuse me, I think 2 out of the other ones, like full points. One of them, I think I probably got most of the points, and then the other one, I think I got maybe like a handful of points. But it was the one that I messed up the most on was the most recent material, because I just I didn't review as much as I would have liked to. It's it's been tough because I took I signed up for a bunch of classes this semester, and I might have bitten off more than I could chew initially. I'm most likely dropping one course, which some of the ones that I don't strictly speaking need, because I already took it several years back and I got a B in it. So as far as admissions is concerned, what they had told me is that they'll take that B and they'll count that for admissions purposes. I was more so taking it to get a refresher because it's a prereq for this other course that they offer at the full-fledged university. I don't know if they offer again in the spring. I can take it online. I'll maybe go back and do that just to get that refresher. Unless I don't need to. But because of that job and how the way the job was going, and I was trying to prioritize the job over my classes, or at least I officially told the boss at that point in time, like, oh, I'll work around in the work schedule and the work comes first and all that kind of stuff, because needed a job, needed the money, needed an income so I could, it would help me apply for that loan I've been talking about so many damn times about, keeping my grandparents' house and all that. Assuming there's no real backstabbing going on in my immediate family, which is a whole nother can of worms I can get into later. But yeah, I just started getting behind in classes, and there were a couple where I was like, oh, I let the professor know that, hey, I'm gonna be gone this week. Need to make them some stuff, and I tried to. One of them I was able to, get right back on track immediately. The other one not so much. I have doubled down over the last couple of weeks, and once I was able to sort of mentally bounce back from getting fired, I dove back into my courses, and I'm been making some serious progress getting caught up. I'm hoping that by the end of this week, so end of day, tomorrow and Saturday, possibly into Sunday, that I'll be 99% caught up, and then maybe Monday I can close that out with everything, and be on top of my courses while I get to hear the job search. And I had to take 2 quizzes today to get caught up. The first one I took, I knew I'd mess it up. It was on the same material as that one question that I did, poorly on. Waiting to get back the results on the second quiz I took, which was actually on earlier material, which I think I did really well on. I'm hoping I got the full points on that. It seemed too easy, which can be, it can go either way on that. You can be misleading yourself into thinking that you know more than you do. And then there was another one which, same sort of vibe I got from it. Haven't gotten the results back on that. And then there was a third. Those are, these other 2 were these 3 were makeup exams. The third one, I think I got most of it, but I messed up on using this this conversion equation for a current divider, which I think you have to actually flip the equation that I was using. I was trying to you have to find the current through this one resistor, and you have to use a current divider equation to do that, and I just hadn't memorized it. I knew I needed to use it, and I thought I put it down correctly, but it all depends on how many points he decides to take off, whether he decides to take off 2 points or 3 points for that. But there's at least a couple times where I thought I screwed everything up and I was getting 0 points on a quiz, and then I got 10 or I got 9 because it was oh, you had the wrong sign. It was it's supposed to be 60 volts, not negative 60 volts. But we'll see. I messaged the professor about at least one of those. I'll probably have to ask him about the other one as well, but I want to keep track of where I'm at. The issue with this class, this is the one class that I have not taken and gotten, at least one time around gotten that B or higher in, and I need that for grad school. And it's sort of technically speaking, there's no sort of deadline in a strict sense of okay, I have to have these all done by this specific day or what have you. But there's something about the factor of just like, when you're my age, and you're not getting any younger, and you're getting into middle age, and it's like, okay, I need to get this done, especially since I spent the last 2 years, busting my chops, some of it while working, some of it, a lot of it while being unemployed, and building myself up to this point where it's like, and I hate how the world and life and family and other people, they seem to sort of converge on you when you're at a point like this, so I do want to try and do that either this weekend or next weekend, where I start putting the application in for graduate school. But yeah, I'm finally at that point where I can do that. I could be starting this next spring. And then you have the whole business with getting a job and making money to support yourself and all these things. And then, the probate court stuff. And it's the fact that, like, for the most part, the people in my family have been back and forth as to whether or not they want to, like, pull their own weight or pull any weight at all. And, exposing themselves as being, like, obsessed with money, when they've had plenty of money over the years and they wasted it all. But they'll come at me, especially like my sister coming at me with this, you gotta get a job and you gotta do this and that, and this isn't that important, this grad school, like, as if she has the right to tell me. And my dad the same way, up until recently at least. A lot of times it just honestly seems like a SHIT test, just to see how much you're serious about these things. But other times it's really like a matter of just people trying to take advantage of you. And if you confront them about this, of course they'll get all offended and be like, yo, you think that's what I'm doing? You think that's the kind of person I am? And it's like, well, I mean, your actions, would say so. But it does feel like running the gauntlet, where there's just always like pressure coming from multiple angles on me, and I've had to try and shoulder my way through so many damn things, and doing just so many like really problematic personalities. But yeah, it's one of those reasons where I feel like I have to handle all this stuff and do all these things. And while the way they word it, as far as the graduate program is concerned, is that failing to complete these following list of courses will delay your graduation. And it's kind of like, okay, yeah, technically speaking, whether you graduate at I don't know, 25 or 35 or 45, technically speaking doesn't matter. But life has a way of just particularly as you get older, as a way of making decisions for you, or just making things way more difficult. And it's like you have stories of people becoming medical doctors, whether it's MD or DO, in their 50s. But they're the exception to the rule. Generally speaking, the rule is that by the time you're that age, and if you're able to be a functioning member of society, I suppose, you get the wife, you get the kids, or you get the husband, you get the kids, and the whole going back to school when technically speaking, need money, guys' responsibilities, etc., becomes that much harder. And particularly since, like, in my case, we're not talking about, 2 years ago. If it was 2 years ago, you know, I could say, yeah, I'll put it off. What's the difference? But now I'm here. I get through these courses and, the door is open. I can just go and I can be a graduate student. And being a graduate student does not mean that you're not going to be working, particularly with the way they typically configure the courses that's, set for working professionals. So, yeah, work during the day, go to school in the evening, take 2 to 3 courses per semester, focus on doing well in your courses and at your work, that sort of deal. But I gotta get through that passage point in order to be in that environment, be in that sort of state of being. And it's frustrating, it's stressful, it can really make me depressive, I suppose, because it's sort of like I've seen people who have done a fraction of what I've done and they've gotten way more results merely because somebody liked them or liked their personality or liked where they came from or what have you. And when I bring up thinking about the one-itis girl, as I have referred to her, and her, I guess now fiance, which that honestly blows my mind. Well, it just went out because I left them on for too long. Maybe that's why. Let's see, can I? No, I can turn it back on because I did not actually turn the keys. Well, that kind of broke my train of thought. Where was I? Yeah, just thinking about that. That really blows my mind because I had almost had that with that one girl I was in a long distance relationship with. The relationship which that girl proceeded to try. The one-itis girl proceeded to try and ruin what she succeeded at doing. Which is yet another topic. I mean, just the anger at someone seeing me happy and then proceeding to go, you know what? I'm going to screw that up for you because I just don't want you to be happy. I'm jealous. I'm angry. And then I'm going to go build something that you would have had and I'm going to rub it in your face for, 3 to 4 years. And, for her and this guy to just move on to like such a great life. I mean, the guy's making roughly $200K as an actual engineer. She's working as like a data scientist. They're making good money. I don't know if they can afford a house in this area, but they have everything set up to go fly back to her hometown and be welcomed in by her family, and they have a whole thing arranged and whatnot. And it's just all the things that my ex-girlfriend and I would have had. We're working so hard towards, and just to have it not only ripped away from me, but and be blamed for it. Be blamed for it. But then to see this other person who's a complete, sack of trash get to have all that, it devalues that whole goal, because it's like, oh, so this person gets to have it, just like my scumbag cousin who's a rapist of children and a molester and all that, who is a married man with 2 kids. I think he has a third on the way, and he gets to be the family man and all that kind of garbage. It just it calls into question the value of all that, and it makes it really hard to sort of strive towards anything, because you really do ask yourself, like, what is the point? When when I think about it, I mean, like, what is the goal for the vast majority of men throughout history? why have we gone and done anything, you know? It was to get the girl, son, ultimately. You can go back 500 years, you can go back 1,000 years, it's the same thing. And if you remove that, you make it so difficult or so seemingly unattainable. Like, most guys just give up. I'm trying not to. I'm trying to find reasons to keep going, and they keep striving to do this, you know, even as like every step of the way. And I think this is sort of like a fear or an anxiety of mine, that anytime I do make progress, I automatically become a target, you know. And I'm just like almost like looking around, wondering, okay, like who's gonna target me next? You know, which predator is gonna come out of the woodwork? Some, you know, predatory homosexual, or some, you know, somebody who wants to take my place, who's, you know, coming from someplace else in the world, or has some sort of chip on their shoulder because they think I grew up so privileged or whatever, and they want to knock me down or knock me out and take my position, take my place. Or if they can't get, you know, what I have, at least make sure that I can't have it anymore, you know. Like an undergrad, I mean, I figured pretty much that, you know, the guys I had problems with, who had the hots for that one-itis girl as well, I'm sure they figured at some point they were not going to get with her. They just weren't. For whatever freaking reason, they just weren't going to get with her. But they had to make sure that I wouldn't as well. You know, using public humiliation, using all sorts of relational aggression tactics, just to make sure that, you know, it was like a zero-sum game. You know, for them to win, I had to lose, and if they were still going to lose, then they were going to take me down with them. So, you know, I guess it was even more than the zero-sum game. But yeah. So I got a couple of things done tonight. It's about 11:30. I'm gonna check and see if do I have anything to drink? I don't know if I have anything to drink sitting in there, because I'm kind of thirsty right now. Excuse me. And hopefully, I think the things that I'm so anxious about when it comes to my health, maybe I'm overblowing it, maybe I'm being a hypochondriac. So I'm gonna try to get back on the diet, you know. Most likely it had to be like next week, just because it's almost Friday right now. Get something to drink. What else? And then I'm gonna try and like take a, you know, make an effort, you know, through the night. I'm probably gonna have to be staying up. Probably gonna have to be making myself some coffee, just staying up, and getting as many of these makeup assignments done and that sort of thing, and then keep applying to jobs, keep doing what I'm doing. Hopefully something gives. Hopefully, you know, the rituals I do, you know, come through, or the, you know, forces I call upon, they come through. I mean, I believe they can. But yeah, I don't know. You know, one thing I did want to like state, now that I'm thinking about it, because I was, you know, I'm not sure. I'm at what, 24 minutes roughly right now. But one thing that, and maybe this is just my mindset, like I always seem to always look for parallels in history, as well as in you know, literature and in pop culture and that sort of thing. And I know that back in 2013 they made like another adaptation of The Great Gatsby, and it was something I think my mom really liked it, which means, you know, maybe I should go watch that. I've been watching The Penguin recently, and I've liked it so far. It's sometimes it gets a little gritty, you know, and that sort of thing, but at the same time, like, you know, you're talking about exploring a character of the underworld, you know, a rising kingpin, so you're gonna see that kind of stuff. And, you know, I do like my neo-noir type, you know, material. I mean, I really like Cowboy Bebop and a lot of the cyberpunk stuff. But, you know, I've gone and watched some scenes on YouTube from the 2013 Great Gatsby, and you know, while there are aspects to me that I would identify with other characters, I say that when it comes to that like one-itis girl, like I mean that's so much of what that story is about. One-itis, you know. You know, the Great Gatsby, you know, obsessed with Daisy Buchanan and thinking he's gonna like get her back, and he's gonna build himself up, and he's gonna prove himself, and then, you know, she's gonna leave her husband, and they'll get together, and it'll be, you know, life in paradise. And honestly, like I've seen far too much of myself in that character, because man, the way I tried to build myself up, you know, last like I think a year and a half to 2 years in undergrad, it was just like it was insane, you know. And then like the times that I would get attention from her, it's like in those moments it's almost like part of me would be like realizing, maybe because, you know, being red pill aware, so I'd be like realizing, like, you know, even if you want her at this point and she really did get with you and she like completely blew off the other guy, like, would you be really getting what you wanted at this point? Because like you'd be like, you'd be choice number 2, you'd be the backup guy, you'd be the guy she chose when her first choice didn't work out, you know. And I would pull away, I would ignore her, I would, you know, play this sort of like, it was almost like playing a game with her, where I just like to, you know, be like that. But and yet here I sit, you know, like, what is it? It's like 5 years post-graduation, I'm still thinking about her, or she's probably not thinking about me. I'm still thinking about those people when they're probably still not thinking about me. They've moved on with their lives, you know. And I think maybe that's where a lot of my my despair, why I get so distraught, is that like they seem to have like they did their thing, they had their phase, they had their fun, you know, it wasn't anything really to them, and they just moved on. And, you know, like the one of the guys had the biggest problems with, you know, he got married recently, and it was most likely an arranged marriage to a girl from either from within the diaspora community or from back home, what I could tell. But, you know, he seemed genuinely happy. But then I hear that, you know, her and the guy she was dating, you know, they get engaged, and it's just like, you know, life is just working out for them, and nothing really, what, you know, meant anything to them, what, you know, affected them. You know, it's like Daisy Buchanan and her husband, you know, Tom Buchanan, like how that line, I think it's at the end of the book, has to be. I know it was mentioned, it might have been like a deleted scene or an alternative scene in the 2013 adaptation, but I know, because I did hear the line read off when, you know, I think I was watching with my mom at one point, and talking about how, I think Nick Carraway, who is Daisy's cousin, played by, in this adaptation, by Tobey Maguire, I think is his name. He's the guy who played, you know, Peter Parker in some of the earlier Spider-Man films. But yeah, he talks about how, you know, Daisy and Tom were such careless people. You know, they just like, it's like they came in, destroyed a bunch of lives, and then they just wandered off back to their lives of opulence and, you know, wealth. And obviously this is set during like the Roaring 20s, so you don't know really how much that lasted. You know, if it was, I think it was published in 1925, so, you know, 4 years later the stock market crash happened, and suddenly all that wealth was, you know, that money was gone, if it even existed, you know, because a lot of people, they bought things on credit where they used their stock as collateral, and then once the stock market crashed, you know, the collateral was worth nothing, and, you know, the you know, creditors started calling in their debts, and so of course everything collapsed for a lot of people. But and it rippled out to affect, you know, the wider society. But in that moment, you know, this carelessness, this ability to just destroy entire lives and just like walk away like it was nothing, because it really was nothing to them. You know, like Daisy couldn't even show up at Gatsby's funeral. Nobody showed up except for Nick. And that's what I see in those people. It's just like they came in, and I hate to sound like a xenophobe, but they're literally like not from here, from the other side of the world, not even from like the Western Hemisphere. They come in, they're completely different cultural background, sense of morality and ethics, and you know, the rich kids, spoiled brats, and they did all the damage to me that they did. And then graduation happened, and they had their parties, and then they left, and they moved on. And wherever they're at in life is where they want it to be, and they get to just have it, you know. And there's like so many people willing to just like throw all sorts of money and effort and support at them to make sure that their dreams are realized. And it's just like, it's insane, and it's really cutting me up inside, so to speak. You know, because that's like one side of life. The other side of life is the boring, monotonous, dead, you know, empty, you know, slog of things. And then there's there's these like moments of intense, like almost like chaos. And for some people, the chaos is like joy and pleasure and fulfillment. And then for the rest of us, it's like pain and loss and sadness. And you know, I'm really hoping for something coming along that's gonna like make it all right, but I really don't know. You know, and I really want to see like those people's lives fall apart. I mean, I want it to be like something that, like, you know, whether it's an election that happens that then leads to the changing of certain laws, which then restricts them in such a manner that they're forced to, you know, give everything up and leave, or it's something a little more personal. Like, I really want to see bad things happen to them. I don't know if I'll ever get to see that, but I also don't want my life to become me just sitting around and waiting for bad things to happen to them. You know, that's giving them even more of what they already took from me. You know, my happiness, my sanity, my life. And I want there to be a way to work that out so I can finally free myself of them. You know, because they're rotten people. You know, if you're the kind of person who willfully builds your happiness on somebody else's suffering or somebody else's misery, then I don't want to know you. And if I do get to know of you, you know, by degrees of some degree of separation, and I hear that something bad has happened, you know, you've gotten some comeuppance, like, yeah, I'm gonna get some schadenfreude from that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you can really have a functioning world if those kinds of people are allowed to just get away with things and have just such wonderful lives, day in and day out, or in the grand scheme of things. But anyways, I'm really thirsty. I want to go get something to drink. And then it's either I stay up and I work on some stuff, which I think I most likely will. Get at least a couple more things done off my list of, you know, things to do. And and eventually go to bed. So, anywho, I'll see you folks around. And thanks to my new subscribers and people watching my videos. I kind of feel torn back and forth as to whether or not I want this, channel to blow up, so to speak, take off. It'd be better than not. Just the fact that there are more folks around who are kind of like joining me for this like journey through life sort of a deal. Appreciate that fact, but I don't know about like trying to make it a business or something like that. But anyways, thanks for watching, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you folks around hopefully. Bye bye.